This is the team announcement for the second test against the British and Irish Lions. Yes, there's been a couple of changes, and I'm just going to read out the changes. There's been 3 changes in the starting team. Firstly, there's an injury force change in the loosehead position, where Steven Kitshoff comes on from the bench for the injured Ox Nietzsche. He unfortunately got injured in the first half in one of the scrums. And then Frans Malherbe gets promoted from the bench, starting at tight head for us. And then the last change in the starting lineup is Jasper Wiese, who moves into the 8th-man position. And then the changes on the bench is Vincent Koch comes in for obviously Steven getting promoted to the starting lineup and for the injured Ox Nietzsche. So Vincent comes in on the bench. And then we are going with a 6-2 split. Marco van Staden comes in on the bench, and Quagga, who started at 8, moves down to the bench. So that is the starting 23 for the second test against the British and Irish Lions.
Thank you, Springbok head coach Jacques Nienaber. Ladies and gents, if you're on our mailing list, the full team will be should be in your inbox by now. Right, we go over to Matthew Pearce of our host broadcaster Supersport. Matthew, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Rayan, Rassie, Jacques. Jacques, first of all, could you just tell us a little bit more about the injury to Ox Nietzsche?
Yes, Matt, unfortunately, he got injured just before the end of the first half in one of the scrums. Just before the end of the first half. Like I say, I don't want to delve too much into that, but unfortunately he sustained an injury that forced it into earlier substitution on match day, and he hasn't recovered fully to participate in this week.
And if we stay with the front row, Steven, obviously then an injury-enforced change, Frans Malherbe on the tight head. Just what are you looking for from them as starters, and conversely from Vincent and Trevor on the bench?
Matt, listen, obviously we want to lay a nice foundation with that starting front row of us. Like I said last week, we're fortunate in that we, in our front row, 1, 2 and 3, both starting and on the bench, these 3 guys know that they've got a specific role they have to play, almost similar to the group that started last week. And then we're fortunate that we have Trevor and Vince and Malcolm that can come on whenever they need it, in the second half. So like I said, we like to see our front row, the front row as working in tandem, and very excited to see Frans and Kitsy starting with Bongi this weekend.
I guess the biggest selection of all for everybody will be that of Jasper Wiese outside of the 23 last week and straight into the starting lineup, but Quagga Smith not taken out altogether.
Did I have Oxen Chair in the team that you sent me?
Sorry, Matt.
Sorry, there was an interruption there. So Jasper Wiese, what has brought about his selection from what you've seen with him in training, in the test against Georgia, his role with the SAA team, that he gets the opportunity to start in such a massive test match?
Yeah, obviously Jasper was part of our plans. He played in the test match against Georgia for us, came off the bench there, Quagga started. So it's a nice combination for us in terms of having Quagga and Jasper. Jasper's main role will be for us to same as what Quagga did last week for us, getting momentum and stopping momentum for us. We feel he had another week of training with us. He was actually, if there was any sickness or illnesses last week, he was playing at 24, 25. So he was there and thereabout with the squad of last week. He had another week of preparation with us, getting used to the environment, getting used to how we do things. And I think it's nice having him, giving him a start, and then we can use Quagga for all his speed and impact that he brings off the bench for us this weekend. And we feel that's playing to our strength. Yeah, so I'm happy for Jasper. Like I said, he worked hard, and it's going to be nice to see him participating in a huge game like this.
You mentioned the 6-2 split on the bench, Jacques. Just two different forwards to what we experienced at Rugby World Cup in that 6-2 split. Sort of Quagga and Marco van Staden included there. And perhaps a second part to the question on the bench is the responsibility on Damian Willemse to provide that sort of multifaceted cover as the second backline replacement.
Yeah, I'll probably start, Matt, with Damian Willemse. Obviously, Damian now has participated in almost all the games that we've played, so he's been training as a 12, as a 15, and as a 10, almost similar what Frans Steyn gave us in the World Cup. And I mean, I think his form just amplifies his selection currently. So he's a versatile guy for us, and we feel that it's now obviously he's been introduced into the various roles that he has to fulfill for us now in the last couple of weeks that we've been training, and we're comfortable now that he can slot in at 15, 10, 12. So he covers us in all three of those positions. Yes, and like you said, I think with the inclusion of Marco and Quagga, I think there will be some nice energy and that we can inject in the second half.
Jacques, finally from me, just perhaps a quick word on the Lions selection, going with a Connor Murray at scrum half, Harrison midfield, and then a change at loose head prop. Does that tell you anything about a possible change in the way they might want to approach this game?
Matt, yeah, I think it's just a swap in terms of the two nines. The one started and the one was on the bench, and now it's just the other way around. Obviously, I think I don't know. I'm not 100% sure how much time Connor got. I thought he got the last 15 minutes or thereabout. Obviously, we know him quite well. He's excellent in terms of his kicking game and his contestable kicking game. So probably, and if you think what happened in the second half, they're probably going to look to use that a lot more. Daly just moved to the bench, and they got Harris on as 13. Don't know the reason for that, but they would know that. And then obviously Marco, I thought, Marco, I thought when he came on in the second half, really scrummed well, very experienced player. So that's obviously the route they're going to go with him.
Thank you, Jacques. Thank you, Rayon.
Thank you, Matthew Pierce from SuperSport. Plenty of hands for questions. So we're going to move on swiftly. And Nick Simon, you up next.
Hey, Rassie. Just a question about the Twitter action this week. Are you Jaco Johan, and why have you been so vocal on Twitter? Is that the most effective way of getting your messages across?
Yeah, no, that's actually why I'm at the press conference. I was feeling sorry for Jacques because I knew he's going to probably get that question. No, I'm actually not Jaco Johan. I'm Johan Erasmus. I actually follow Jaco Johan. He's a big supporter of us, and he's been feeding me some really good clips and for a while now, some really good things that I actually used in the past. So he's a very big supporter, a really funny guy. And I quite enjoy the things that he does. Why I'm so active on Twitter, I actually I think retweeted about 2 or 3 tweets that I really thought was accurate. And then, I tweeted twice just for a simple reason. As director of rugby, we do have the medical department as part of our department, and there's a program called Boxsmart. And the one tweet was just, I thought the way Chesden was picked up off the ground, while it could have been a serious injury, we teach our primary school children from any, age or level that you leave a player as he is there, because it is dangerous. If we wouldn't like our Springbok players this Saturday to go, every Lions player that's down on his back to go and pick him up. And I thought that was an important one to get out there while we had the opportunity. Otherwise, I just thought the other tweet was just, the Lions really, I thought, deserved to win. They're going through the same protocols as us, same COVID protocols. They're far away from home. So I think it was only those two tweets. And then obviously, I did retweet a few things a few guys that I thought were spot on. Like last year, a guy like Smith Rugby. I enjoy him, for example, and when something makes sense to me, I like to retweet it.
And will you be going to World Rugby through the official channels as well, or have you just said you're a bit on social media?
Yeah, that takes a bit of a while. We tried to do that on Sunday, but they didn't come back to us, and on Monday they didn't come back to us. And this morning we got the report back, so that takes a bit of a while to get the full-on report. And we got it this morning, and then already Monday is done, and our second training is this afternoon. So when you get it only on a Tuesday morning, it does disrupt your week in terms of team selection and what things you want to rectify. And when Jacques wanted the tactics he wants to employ, we really tried hard to make contact with them on Sunday night and send through clips to them and wanted some guidance and help on certain things that we can fix and maybe change in our team selection. But unfortunately, their process is, they said it was the same in the Six Nations, which we wouldn't know because we didn't play there. But they said they normally only give feedback on a Tuesday back. So we got it this morning. I'm currently working through it. We're going to give it back to Jacques this afternoon and see if we can then, in the one training that's still left, maybe try and implement some of those things.
Thank you, Rassie, and thank you, Nick. We're moving on to Ken Borland. Good afternoon, Ken.
Afternoon, Rayan. Thanks very much. Afternoon, Jacques and Rassie. Jacques, both Shiva Inyakani and Vincent Koch have been mostly playing tight end lately. Who is your actual loose head reserve?
I think we're fortunate in terms of that. Trevor can play both loose head and tight head. In this specific game, he will cover loose head for us, and obviously we can use him as a tight head as well. And then Vincent is I think he can also play both sides. Yeah. So, but I think Trevor will back us up at loose head this weekend, and Vincent at tight head. But like I say, we'll probably, when the team sheet goes in, they can play both sides.
Thank you, Jacques. And Daniel Schofield, good afternoon. Okay, Daniel, can you hear me? Okay, let's move on to Craig Lewis.
Thanks, Ray. Jacques, you mentioned obviously Jasper's been with you guys a bit longer now, had some more time in training. What really is it that you've liked about what you've seen from him to earn a start, and what really do you need to get out of him at number 8? I'm sure most would agree Dwayne was really missed last weekend.
Yeah, I think I once listen. Dwayne is you don't get how can I say, you don't get the player what we call it player
Replacement.
No, in the World Cup final, he got man of the match. You don't get man of the match in a big game like a World Cup final where you're not a quality player. So, Dwayne is a quality player, but as is Kwagga. Kwagga was good on the weekend. I think tactically, I probably wasn't that sharp in terms of protecting him on the high balls. As a coach, I could have done it better. I spoke to the team about it. They know about it. And we will definitely look tactically how we can change a couple of things in terms of that. So I think I almost hang him out to dry a little bit there. And then obviously Jasper, the reason why we started looking at him, he was obviously doing very well in the Premiership. I think he's just his actions in the Premiership. If you look at his stats in terms of his carries and how dominant he was, that's why we selected him in our squad. So we just want to see whatever Jasper did to get into the squad. We want to see that on Saturday, and he will give. I'm sure he will give that to us.
Thank you, Jacques. Andrew McKenna, next.
Jacques, how much is the balance between changing what you did on Saturday for a slightly different game plan and maybe doing what you did better? Where is the balance between that from Saturday?
In terms of the balance in terms of the back row.
No, sorry. In terms of your game plan, looking at the game, how much will you change the game plan and how much are you convinced it was the right game plan? It just maybe wasn't implemented quite right.
Yes. Okay, now I got you there. So, okay, now listen, all we have to do is we were 5 points short of the British and Irish Lions. We need to get 5 points more. So I don't think in terms of if you look at the game plan, I think we were unfortunate. We were over the try line 3 times, only one try awarded. So I think there was opportunities for us, and for the reasons that we all know, some of those opportunities were not allowed, or the tries were disallowed. So that's the main thing. I think we just got to improve. Like I said, after the match, I felt that in the second half we didn't handle the contestable kicking game from the Lions. We didn't handle that as good as we could have. There was tactical errors from my side. And obviously we will have to, we worked incredibly hard in the week to rectify that. And we just need to get 5 points more to be in the mix.
Thank you, Jacques. And the next question will come from Will Callahan.
Hi there. This is one for Rassie. Can you talk to us about the emotions of the squad going 1-0 down in the series? That will, I imagine, fire you up because it's kind of a do or die game this weekend. Should we expect a furious backlash from your box?
I wouldn't say furious backlash. I think if we win the next one, then the Lions are then in the same position as us. Then they must win the last one to win. So I guess that's the way we'll look at it. We're going to try and win this one. We've been in positions like this before. At the World Cup, we lost the first game against the All Blacks, and we had to win the next 6 to win the World Cup. So we definitely the team under pressure, without a doubt. I think you're correct there. I think last week was interesting in terms of, I think we were very, very quiet in the media. I think we were very focused and tried to stay on the positive vibe which the World Cup created and make the people support us, not saying too much and trying to deliver on the Saturday. And I think the Lions were a little bit opposite compared to us. And that's why I think we are taking things a little bit different this week. And, it will definitely be a tough game Saturday and move our backs against the wall. Luckily, we only really have one big injury, which is Ox. So, we always knew we were going to be a little bit underdone when one of those Georgian test matches were cancelled. And we were hoping that, we could last 80 minutes last week. But I think of the changes that we made now and the going with the 6-2 split and the guys having another test match under their belt against the Lions, which is one of the biggest which is out there, I think we might have the wind and the breath to go 80 minutes.
Just on that, Rassie, you mentioned the Lions being loud last week. Do you think that they got the upper hand and influenced refereeing decisions or television match official decisions last week? And do you hope to do that with Ben O'Keefe in the middle this week?
No, that's not the reason why I'm saying it. It was actually, we've been in the past, we have found that when we talk in the media too much, it normally, it backfires on us. And when Warren talked last week about Maurice Jonker, Warren is a great guy. I can tell you straight up. I've always enjoyed him. He's a good man. But it was weird for me that people would question Maurice's integrity. It was a weird thing for me. It was almost like, say we say this weekend, Ben O'Keefe is a New Zealander and Warren is also a New Zealander. We will never say that. It wouldn't sit well. It would, the whole integrity of the game be questioned, and we will never do that, So what we are trying to do is trying to find out from World Rugby exactly some decisions which we got wrong during the game, and some things that we could do better during the game. That we are focusing on a hell of a lot, but we're not there yet. The feedback was a little bit slow, and we're trying to incorporate that in this afternoon's training session, and hopefully that will come through on Saturday. So no, we won't be loud in the media.
Thank you, Rassie. And Daniel, you right now to ask your question.
Hi, Rassie. Just picking up on that. You mentioned the integrity of the game. Is sort of micro-analysing every referee's decision and promoting that on Twitter not also undermining the integrity of the referee and thus the game?
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. If somebody goes and micro-analyze every non-decision that's not been taken, I think that's awful. You can't do that. A referee only have 2 pairs of eyes. But I think if you do analyze the things that he's supposed to see, I think then you actually spot on with the integrity of the game.
Thank you, Rassie. Kobus Klaasen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, all. I had a question for Rassie, and please don't shoot the messenger. Clive Woodward earlier this week wrote that it seems that you need to take a step back and allow Jacques freedom to coach the team. What is your take on that view?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know if a sir is so important in South Africa than in England. I'm not sure, but that's his opinion. Myself and Jacques is great mates. I'm the water carrier at this stage, so I think he's higher than me in the rank. So I really don't think we've always worked together since the military, since 1990. The way we work together, I think if you go and look at that match on Saturday, I think in minute 71, we almost scored a try that was called back, and then our working relationship might have been perfect. And then people say it's working really well. So, I wouldn't listen too much to Sir Clive Woodward. He doesn't really matter to me.
Thank you, Rassie. Leighton Koopman of Rapport.
Hi, Rassie. Hi, Jacques. Jacques, Rassie touched on things briefly in terms of where the guys are at, putting in an 80-minute test match performance after only 2 tests since the 2019 World Cup final. Can you give us a gauge at where the guys are? Would you say they are between that 90 and 100% at the moment, or do you feel you need to still get into the 90s?
No, I think definitely, like Rassie said, I thought we knew it's going to be tough, and that's why we probably couldn't go with a 6-2 split last week. We knew that if you look at the guys, even at our bench, there was not the bench, the front row. We had a couple of guys that was in isolation for 10 days, and that's the issue. The issue is not that they're ill or anything like that. They just haven't been exposed to rugby and to rugby training, and the same with, if you look at Andre and he started cramping, and that's why we knew, listen, we probably can't go and risk with a 6-2 split last week. But obviously getting exposed to rugby the whole last week, getting exposed to a high intensity game against the British and Irish Lions on the weekend, that all tops up. And the muscle memory of the players are still there. They just haven't been, how can I say, they've been at a high intensity up to when they went into isolation, and then it's almost a drop off of nothing, and then you have to start building them up a bit again, and you have to build them up slowly. So I think it just took a week again to get them up to that level, and almost not getting them up to the level, but getting them up to the level, and then mitigating the risk that, listen, you can actually now go with a 6-2 split. We're comfortable that they would be able to play a full 80. Just in terms of their conditioning. So I think we're there.
Okay, we will have to move on swiftly. We still have to get the players to speak to the media. Then we go over to and we say good afternoon, Sandile van Heerden.
you very much, Rayan. Good afternoon, Jacques. Good afternoon, Rassie. My question is directed to Rassie. Do you believe that those off-field battles matter in terms of being influential in affecting how the game is officiated? And if you do you believe World Rugby should stamp down on coaches who call out officials before games? Somehow protect officials a bit more?
I'm not sure what the answer on that one is. It's a difficult one. I was baffled when Marius was appointed as the TMO, not because I'm actually very, very good friends with Marius. I'm actually close friends with Marius. I know him really well. And I actually made a point not to phone him before that match because I felt it was such a tough thing for him to do. But I did feel when he was mentioned, because he's South African, now he's refereeing for South African, he's TMOing for South African team. I thought that didn't sit well with me, to be honest with you. As I say, I know last year in the Rugby Championships, New Zealand and Australia played with New Zealand referees and Australian referees against each other. And that's the way things happen with COVID. So I don't know if World Rugby should interfere, but I mean, you will never, if Ben O'Keefe does wrong decisions on Saturday, you wouldn't hear us saying it's because he's New Zealand and Warren Gatland is New Zealand. So I think one must try and stay away from those things. And I've learned my lesson, and I've made those mistakes many times. I've many times talked too much about referees and their things in the media. I'm not sure what the answer on that one is.
Thank you, Rassie. And we conclude this section in the English section. We will briefly give Jacques an opportunity to just give a summary of the team announcement in Afrikaans very briefly. But before that, Ashfaq Mohammed, good afternoon.
Thanks, Ayan, and hi, Jacques and Rassie. Just quickly first to Rassie, is the main thing still the main thing? And to Jacques, last week's game, the first half was almost like the World Cup final. You built up that lead. But the second half, perhaps we didn't see those finesse touches that you saw in the final and led to the 2 tries. You want to see a bit more of that this weekend?
Ashfaq, I would say we were pretty much in control of the first half. And then, like I said, I think the penalty count in the second half was 8-2. But we conceding 8 penalties and they only conceding 2 penalties. So obviously, it's tough to get territory and to get a foothold in the game. And then when we got a foothold in the game, I mean, we were across their try line, like I said, 3 times in that second half. Damian Dalende scored, it got brought back. Willie scored, it got brought back. So, and then we had the one allowed try from Faf. So, and all those tries were actually from counter-attack and was scored on the outside where we outflanked them. So I thought, if, like Rassie said, if one of those tries stick and we kicked it over, we would have said, listen, pretty much we were happy with it. But unfortunately for us, bounce of the ball, maybe something going there, something going that way. Things didn't go, the calls didn't go our way in terms of that. A little knock on from Cheslin on the contest, So, in another game, it doesn't happen and you score those tries. So I think then we wouldn't have had this discussion and say, listen, there wasn't, we created the opportunities. Yes, we didn't finish them. We created 3 and even the one with Sia, the first half. I mean, from that maul, a nice line break. We 1 meter, 2 meters away from the try line. I mean, now, I would say, yes, pretty much getting there on momentum like that, getting a line break, you should take that opportunity, and we didn't. So we created 4 opportunities, great opportunities. We finished 1, the other 3 we didn't. And we need to rectify that. So that's the first one. What was the other one you asked me? Sorry.
To Rassie, about is the main thing still the main thing?
Yeah, it depends on which angle you ask that question. If I was the head coach, I would have said to you, coaching and playing is the main thing. But that's our job still. For me, the main thing is now to get the structures right, make sure that we have a fair chance, make sure that we get through COVID protocols and have management teams and have players that can be available. And so, yeah, for me, the main thing is a little bit different now. So, but I can tell you, for these guys, the last week has been, the main thing was in the rugby because they're out of isolation and quarantine, all of those things. And they're back on the park and they're training every single day. For me, it's a little bit different, Ashwak. I also think part of my job is currently now to inform everybody what's going on and what we're trying to do and how we do things. So, yeah, for me, it's a little bit different now. The only other function I do for them is helping with the planning of the coaching and carrying a bit of water.
Thank you, Rassie. Jacques, very briefly in Afrikaans, there's a request that you just give a very brief summary of the team that you announced and the reason why Ox has not been considered for selection in Afrikaans. Thank you.
Okay, die span van die tweede toets teen die Britse en Ierse Lions is nommer 1. Al slegs 3 veranderinge in die begin 15-tal. Die eerste verandering is op loskop waar Steven Kutzel begin in die plek van Ox Nienaber. En dit is 'n verandering wat gemaak word as gevolg van 'n besering. Ox het 'n besering gekry in 'n scrum so 30 minute in die eerste helfte. En dis hoekom ons die verandering ook moes ongelukkig maak halftyd. Dan is daar Frans Malherbe wat inkom op vaskop van die bank af. En die derde verandering in die beginspan is Jasper Wiese begin. Hy was laasweek was hy speler 24, so hy was in die vergrote groep van 25 waarmee ons na die wedstryd toe gegaan het. So Jasper kom in op 8ste man, dan die veranderinge op die bank. Is Trevor Nyakane gaan het van die begin 15 dan af gegaan na die bank toe. Vincent Koch het ingekom in die plek van die beseerde Ox Nienaber en dan gaan ons met 'n 6-2 split. So Marco van Staden kom in en Kwaga wat laasweek begin het op 8 is net nou op die bank vir ons. So dis die veranderinge wat plaasgevind het van die eerste toets na die tweede toets toe.
Hi, dankie Jacques. That concludes our first section of the press conference. Thank you